Welcome to The Explainer. Let's get right into it. Today we're diving into the highly technical, sometimes kind of frustrating, but absolutely fascinating world of static IPs on Verizon networks. If you've ever tried to set up a smart home device, host a gaming server, or run a remote audio setup, you've probably bumped into the term static IP. Today we're focusing on a really crucial question. What are the real security risks and the actual benefits of using static IPs? Okay, let's dive into this. To get why a static IP matters, we actually need to look at why most of us don't have one to begin with. By default, internet service providers hand out what are called dynamic IPs. I want you to imagine trying to call a friend named Bob. Now imagine if Bob's phone number randomly changed every single day, or literally every time his phone rebooted. It would be a total nightmare trying to reliably get in touch with him, right? Well, that is exactly how most standard home networks operate. Your router is basically just handing out temporary, shifting addresses to all your devices.
And that brings us to the solution, the static IP. A static IP acts as a permanent network phone number. Instead of crossing your fingers and hoping your computer can guess where your smart TV or your media server decided to live today, you assign it an unchanging address. It completely solves the Bob's phone number problem. You dial one specific number and boom, you connect immediately, every single time.
Our agenda for today covers 5 key areas. First, why use static IPs? Second, security risks and pitfalls. Third, a dynamic DNS alternative. Fourth, business setup. And finally, residential setup.
Section 1. Why use static IPs?
So why even bother going through the hassle of changing your network settings? The practical benefits really just boil down to rock-solid reliability and control. If you're building out smart home automation, say you want your smart doorbell to instantly talk to your PC and your TV, you absolutely need to know exactly where those devices live on your network. A changing IP address will break those automations in a heartbeat. The exact same goes for gamers out there trying to host voice chat community servers or audiophiles trying to stream high-fidelity music remotely. The second that IP changes, the connection just drops.
To really bring this to life, check out this success story we found on the Rune Labs community forum. A user named Mike Siegel was having major headaches trying to get his Rune Arc remote audio system to work in his car. He implemented a 5-step fix on his Verizon G3100 router. Notice the key ingredients here? Alongside some TCP port forwarding, he actually set his Rune server to a static IP address. The result? Flawless, immediate remote connection. The album art pops up instantly in his car, just as if he were sitting in his own living room. It is a massive benefit. But achieving this perfect connection came with a catch. Step 1 of his fix actually required lowering his router's security level.
Section 2. The security risks and pitfalls.
Now, what's really interesting about this next point is the sheer danger of misconfiguration. Playing around with static IPs and port forwarding is definitely not without its risks. Right in response to Mike's success story, a Rune Labs support member named Connor chimed in with a critical warning. He stated clearly that they only recommend assigning a static local IP if you are deeply familiar with your network setup. Why? Because if you configure it incorrectly, you can accidentally render that machine completely invisible to the network. And as he notes, it's quite difficult to recover from that. You are essentially taking a device entirely off the automated grid. If you misplace its address, it is lost in the dark.
And those security risks extend right down to the hardware itself. If you're running complex automations, you have to trust your equipment. According to tech reviewers analyzing Verizon hardware, older rented routers like the Verizon G1100 are just not frequently updated with security patches. If you're out there opening up ports and setting static IPs for remote access, using outdated hardware is a huge vulnerability. The strong recommendation here is to invest in a custom router, like a Netgear, which receives frequent security updates and supports advanced features, like virtual LANs, to keep your network segmented and safe.
Section 3. Dynamic DNS, a free alternative. Now, if the security risks, or as we're about to see, the wild financial costs of a true static IP have you worried, there is a brilliant workaround. In an r/tech support Reddit thread, a user was looking to set up a voice chat server but hit a major roadblock. Purchasing a block of static IPs from Verizon as a small business can run you around $500. But another user shared this fantastic, totally free alternative. Instead of paying Verizon for a static IP, you sign up for a free dynamic DNS service, or DDNS, via a site like noip.com. So instead of giving your server a fixed IP address, you just give it a fixed domain name. The DDNS service constantly tracks your changing dynamic IP and silently links it up to your permanent domain. As long as you click an email link to renew it each month, you get the exact same reliability as a static connection for exactly $0.
Section 4. Business setup, firewalls and blocks.
Okay, but let's say you do need the real deal. Maybe you're a business that actually purchased a block of static IPs from Verizon and you need to get them running safely. So the crucial point is this consensus from the r/networking pros. You should never, ever just plug your devices directly into the Fios router. The absolute best practice is to take the Fios connection and plug it directly into your own dedicated hardware firewall first. You assign one of those static IPs to the firewall, and then you let the firewall safely route and translate the traffic for the rest of your devices. It is absolutely essential for network security.
If you're configuring the Verizon router to act as a bridge for this setup, you'll navigate over to the Public LAN Settings menu. You check the box for Public LAN Enable and then enter the very first IP address of the block you purchased. This specific IP is what actually bridges the Verizon router over to your internal network. And please notice the vital note here. You must ensure that the DHCP server, that automatic phone number generator we were talking about, is not enabled on this screen. Otherwise, it's just going to fight your static settings the whole time.
Section 5. Residential Setup, Routers, and Smart Homes. All right, let's bring it back to the home user. What if you're not a business, but you just want that Roon server or your smart doorbell working flawlessly? In the Verizon Residential Gateway interface, you'll need to navigate into the Advanced Configuration pages. First up, you'll look for the Bridge Mode drop-down menu on the VC1 configuration page. To start setting up your static option, you must change this from Standard Bridge to Routed Bridge. This simply tells the router exactly how to handle the specific traffic you're about to assign.
Once you select Routed Bridge, the menu expands. Here you'll select the radio button that says, Use the following static addresses. And notice, in parentheses, it explicitly tells you to manually disable the DHCP client. By clicking this, you are officially telling your router to stop changing the address. You then manually type in the IP address, subnet, and gateway that Verizon provided in your activation email. Boom! You've locked your network phone number firmly into place.
And this brilliantly illustrates a final critical step that so many people forget. You've told the router to expect a static IP, but you also have to tell the operating system itself. Whether you are on an older Windows XP machine or a modern Windows or Mac setup, you have to go into your local area connection properties. You must select TCP/IP, check the box to manually enter an IP, and then type in the exact same IP, subnet mask, and gateway that you just configured in the router. The hardware and the software must perfectly match up. Which brings us to our final thought. We've seen how a static IP can perfectly cure remote connection issues and make smart home automation absolutely flawless, but we've also seen the stark warnings about accidentally making your server invisible, the vulnerabilities of outdated hardware, and the strict technical configurations required to do this right. So I leave you with this. Is the rock-solid reliability of a static IP actually worth the setup effort and the potential security pitfalls for your specific home network, or is a free, clever workaround like Dynamic DNS the better path for you? It really is a fascinating balance between convenience and technical risk. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this helped clear up your network, and I'll catch you on the next one.